My name is Beth Stern. I'm the director of Central Vermont Council on Aging in Barre. Our agency had direct impact with the May floods. We were moving our office the day after the May flood hit Barre, and the basement in our new building was flooded, and the elevator didn't work for a month after that. We moved during that flood, and we were dealing with impact of clients, seniors especially, who were affected during the May flood when Irene hit, and hit many areas in our service area, including Rochester, Granville, Hancock, Northfield, Waterbury, Berlin, but many others in my service area. So what happened with seniors, especially around housing, was that they moved into relatives' houses or other places where they could go to that weren't really accessible to them necessarily. I mean, they kind of made do while they could. But now we're trying to find housing that doesn't have stairs or that isn't a complicated situation for them to get around in. And people who already may be somewhat compromised, both physically and mentally, are having to make lots of adjustments in their housing. And one of the things that happened was that there wasn't immediate accessible housing for these folks. And the housing, senior housing, for example, wasn't set up to be flexible so that people could move into vacant senior housing apartments. And I'm wondering if anyone can address how we can in the future create more flexibility with the services that we have so that seniors and people with disabilities can more quickly move into housing that might be accessible for them.
Sarah, you want to take?
First of all, I'll say I agree. I think that this is the kind of question that we can bring forward to the state conversations that are going on now. When I think about the topics that get addressed by the Vermont Council to End Homelessness, the Vermont Affordable Housing Coalition, other groups in the state that think about policy issues and make recommendations in concert with the Agency of Human Services. This is a great topic to bring forward, and Beth, I'll make a commitment that I will be a voice on that issue along with you in going forward. I'll make another small comment about the little kinds of things that also happen for seniors. We became aware that the senior housing in South Royalton had a boil water order because of what had happened there. It totally threw the seniors for a loop. There were folks who could not cope with that. When we found out about it, one of the things we were able to do is to take bottled water that had been delivered by the National Guard to South Stratford where they didn't need it. We were able to pick it up and move it over to senior housing in South Royalton. But it's little things that matter for seniors, even who did not lose their housing.
I don't have much to add to that, because I certainly heard that and agree that that is an issue and a good one to take forward and try to work on. Add to, that's certainly what I've heard in the, for seniors on fixed incomes, especially mobile home parks, where they own the mobile home outright, they paid a lease on it, maybe paid $200 a month for the lot rent, and now they're looking at trying to get into an apartment for 3-4 times, maybe more, that amount. And for a senior on fixed income, this is extremely debilitating long term. How are they going to make that work? And there aren't really any easy answers, but part of the answer, as you said, Beth, would be to look and see how we have more flexibility for the future. And I too make a commitment that's an issue we'll take forward as we look at housing as some of the lessons learned here.
Great, thank you. Yes?
Hi, Diane Derby from Montpelier. I drive Route 2 through Middlesex and Waterbury a lot. And since Irene and since the May flooding, we've seen Route 2 flood twice now in a very serious way. And what I'm seeing is a lot of rebuilding according to what was there prior. And there's not really any talk about adaptation. Do we raise these dwellings 4 feet when we rebuild them? The whole issue of what are we doing in this rebuilding effort to address the fact that this likely wasn't a 100-year occurrence? And I'm just scratching my head that all of these people are just rebuilding right in the area that's been flooded twice since May. So I wonder, the state's long-term recovery plan, are you figuring in that issue?
Thanks, Diane. Certainly, we're looking at those kinds of issues, and a lot of Vermonters are stubborn, and they want to rebuild where they want to rebuild, and frankly, that's the land that they own. There's not an easy answer for them because they don't have anywhere else to go. One program that FEMA does offer as part of kind of not just the long-term recovery, but it's kind of the immediate piece here. Not middle-term recovery, I guess, is the buyout program through hazard mitigation grant program. And what that does is working with towns, landowners can apply to get a grant to have their property bought out through a hazard mitigation grant so that they get some of the value back. It's not 100%, 75%, but it's for a lot of folks, they're willing to go that route to get something for the value of their land and their home, and hopefully can use that money to start new somewhere else. That's on a one-off basis that might work. As far as the bigger plans on what to do in the floodplains, that's going to be a big issue. And there isn't an easy answer, and I haven't thought it through yet at this point, other than to know that something we're going to have to tackle.